Hey, what's up, Roxstars? It's Rox coming to you today with a review for Real Housewives of Atlanta, Season 16, Episode 3. So let's get to it, shall we? I say I'm gonna take some time off, y'all. All the cashiers, they was like, somebody stole her truck. It's like you can hear it all throughout the store. This Rox coming to you today with a review for Love and Marriage Detroit, Love and Marriage Huntsville, our book 4, Real Housewives of Atlanta. Let's get to it, shall we? Guys, so let's start the show opening with Brit. We see that Brit's family, actually it's her husband's family, they are all coming over to visit. And, Brit is just giving us a little background on how she used to be. She said she used to be a video vixen back in the high school days, a bad bitch. She dated rappers and ballers and the such. However, those were just for fun. Her husband, Mike, she feels like in Mike, she has a lifelong partner. And somebody that is a real man, okay? And she just loves the relationship that they have. Apparently, they got married during the pandemic, and remember, they didn't get to, during pandemic, you couldn't have no big crowd together, right? Except for Cynthia. She didn't have the wedding that she wants, so they're going to have a second wedding so that they can have all of the glitz and the glamour and the fanfare that they wanted originally. So anyways, the family is over there and, they just asking them how they doing. Oh, they doing great. Okay, how's the girls, the new ladies that are going to be your co-workers for the next however many weeks. And she says, everybody is cool, Kenya, there might be a little something there. But other than that, everybody's cool. Then she starts telling us about the reason why she opened her insurance agency to begin with is because, growing up, her father, she was really close with her father. Then her father took ill and he ended up dying, and they were not prepared for it. Not as far as insurance-wise, so no life insurance policy. She had to open a GoFundMe, and she said that experience was what inspired her to open her insurance agency, because she feels like no family should ever go through the things that they went through when her father had passed. But apparently she had this business with her sisters. She has 2 sisters, and she said that when she decided to sell the insurance agency, so I guess she don't have she's not into insurance any longer. I thought she was saying she's still doing it, but no, I guess she sold the business. And her sisters and she said that her sister's relationship with her had suffered in the midst of this business, because I guess she was like the leader of the business, and the girls were working there, and she said that they felt like she was too hard on them, and they probably didn't like working for their sister, and whatever. So she sold the business. It put bad a taste in everybody's mouth, so she's not as close as she would like to be with her sisters any longer. But she's trying to figure out how she can get that relationship back on track. So stay tuned on that one, y'all. Now let's jump over to Porsha. So I know last week, you guys, I was hard on Porsha, and you guys had to talk me off the ledge and explain to me that, Roxanne, I don't think that they are going to address the whole Simon situation and how Porsha stole Fallon. So I was just like, okay, I guess I'm just going to have to accept that. I mean, that is still at the back of my mind, but it is what it is, child. So whatever. Porsha has decided that the way that she's going to be able to get through this season most comfortably is to figure out where Kelly coming from and then switch Kelly's mind. Okay, so that is the reason why her and Kelly are going out to eat today. We sit down at a restaurant, and both of them are not really sure how the other one is going to react. So you guys know that this group is notorious for having a drink or two and then the fights start. So they both decide that they're not going to drink. All right. So we sit down. Hey girl, you look good. You look nice too. Okay, well girl, what's this gonna be? Like, I don't really know what the energy is. It's a little bit off, but we're gonna try to get it back on track. I felt like this whole conversation was, the saying, you keep your friends close and you keep your enemies closer. Okay, well, I felt like that's what Porsha was doing in this situation, because in order to make sure that she's able to get through this season comfortably, she's gonna have to get Kelly off of her back.
You know, I don't really know much about Kelly, but all I know, she got a whole bunch of personalities, and they all start with L. You know, loud, louder, loudest.
Kelly was just like, yeah, I got a whole bunch of personalities, just like Porsha got a whole bunch of men, so I guess we even on that. But on bump. So anyway, what's the problem, girl? That's basically what Porsha asked Kelly. And Kelly was just like, you know, I just asked the question, you know, when me and Shamia, when we all went out, you know, I told Shamia that I just simply wanted to know, you know, why she took that lady man. And Shamia told me that I needed to ask you myself. And Porsha was just like, wait a minute, hold on. My best friend told you that you needed to come to me to ask me that question. Why would my best friend send you to ask me that hurtful question? See, that's not how it was presented to me at all. How was it presented to you, Porsha? I mean, really, you was there. Kelly asked the question to your face. It wasn't like she just went to Shamia and then never said anything. She asked it right when you were sitting there, so it didn't have to be brought to you. It was already done. But whatever, Porsha chose to be offended that Shamia decided to send the ops her way, apparently. And, you know, she don't like that. So now she got a bone to pick with Shamia, and she ain't too mad. I guess let her tell it with Kelly now. I guess Porsha feels set up by Shamia. But that was definitely not what Shamia was trying to do.
Okay, you know what? I love you, Care, so much. You know, I was calling you a troll, but now I'm going to call you my treasure trove.
Oh, I was just like, okay, win them over. One thing that Porsha is not charming. She is a charming girl. She wins people over, and she has just pulled Kelly over to her side. Like I said, keep them enemies closer. Now, later on, we see Porsha, and she and her mom, they go to the spa. You know, she's always had a good relationship, a good close relationship with her mom. She's there, and they're discussing the divorce, of course. And so she was telling her mother that she feels alone in this whole divorce process. I mean, I'm sure she has her mother and her sister on her side, but she also thought that she was going to be able to have keep a relationship with her newfound family, with the family in Africa. Was it in Nigeria? Wherever they were, she thought that she was going to have still keep that relationship with them. And they basically told her, I guess the elders told her, honey, you on your own on this one. Okay. Y'all wasn't locked in long enough for us to feel like we've got to get the special whatever we got to do to keep you along in our considered in our tribe. So no, you'll be on your own on that one. But this has thrown her so off, you know, because the mom was just like, you know, I always felt like he was. Oh, that's Mel from Love and Marriage, Huntsville. That's that mama's voice. I used to have a mama voice for Porsha's mom. I got to remember what. I guess it's kind of similar. They sound similar to me. But anyway, she was just like, you know, I've always thought of Simon as your protector. And Porsha was just like, yes, I always felt safe with him. But not anymore. And then, of course, here in the States, you know, even her friends, they seem to be after her too. So she starts to tell her mom how Shamia was had went out with her because, you know, she was down in the dumps about her divorce. And Shamia was like, come on, girl, let's have like a girls' night out so we can have a good time. So I guess what we saw when Porsha and Shamia went out, that was supposed to be their girls' night out to have a good time, child. Something tells me that is not exactly how neither one of them have a good time, but it's neither here nor there. But she was just like,
you know, then when we sat down, you know, she started telling me about Kelly and how Kelly was asking all these questions and how she told Kelly that she needed to ask me, come to me with the questions.
And her mom was like, what? Why would she ask you that? Why would she send that towards you knowing that you have all this stress in your life? And Porsha was just like, I know. And I was just like, how did this get flipped over on Shamia? It ain't nobody's fault. We just want to know why you took Fallon's husband. And how is it now Shamia and Kelly? Everybody the problem but Porsha, child. Anyway, the mom don't like Shamia for that either now. You got to make sure that you watch the dog that's carrying the bone. Why is she bringing all that to you? You don't need that stress. No, she doesn't need that stress, I guess. Dang it, Shamia. Shame on you for looking out for your best friend. Now let's jump over to Drew. So Drew's new album has come out recently, and many of you guys have hit me up and told me that it was actually a very good album, and that I needed to take a listen. I will take a listen. I just haven't listened yet. Okay, nobody clamoring to go listen to Drew's music, but you know, I've always felt like she had a nice voice, so I'm sure the album is good. Anyway, we see her working in the studio, and then we see Cynthia, Kenya, and Angela come visit her, okay? And I was just like, oh, I know Drew's probably nerves is bad because these are all of the elders of the show. And even though you guys tell me that, didn't Angela Oakley tell us that she was almost 60? But you guys told me that Porsha, now that Kenya's no longer on the show, you guys are telling me that Porsha is the oldest housewife on the show. And I was like, is that right? So how old is Angela Oakley? Because I tried to look it up on the internet, and nobody really has her real age or her birth date with the year anyway on it. So there's that. But anyway, just these grown ladies come to see old childish ass Drew just got me laughing. So anyway, after she finished her little singing in the booth, she comes on out, you know, hugs everybody. Hey, thank you for coming, you know. And then they sit down there talking. Angela starts to share with them like how she ended up with Charles. She said that they lived in the same apartment building, and she was just like, honey, I used to have a concierge looking out for me, like, honey, who came over to his house, who was there, you know, what they look like, all of that. She was just like, why wouldn't you use a concierge if you lived in the same building? Like, it's a no-brainer, okay? But she said that they ended up getting married. And then shortly after they got married, that incident happened in 2017 where Charles Oakley ended up getting into it with somebody at the MSG, and he's never liked, the people at MSG have never really liked Charles Oakley, or, you know, vice versa. So there was already bad blood there, and then they saw him, and then they ended up kicking him out. Remember, and they tried to say that he could never come back to the MSG and all of that. Remember all that? She said that happened, and that actually put a strain on their relationship. And they ended up separating, and they were living separately for a while, but they made it back to each other. And so now they're going to have a vow renewal because she, you know, wants to reaffirm what it is that they promised each other when they first got married. And so then after we get through that little conversation, you know, we get on the subject of the music. Kenya was just like, well, where's Dennis? And, you know, Drew, well, you know, he was supposed to come. He was supposed to come today, but he's not here. So what exactly is going on with you and Dennis, girl? You know, he is nothing more than the executive producer. I don't know why Drew couldn't have said that when she was telling us that he was her, you know, guardian angel, and, you know, almost might as well have said the love of her fucking life when she was explaining the relationship between the two. Why couldn't you have just said, he's my executive producer, nothing else is going on? Okay. She said that, but not in those words. So, you know, the big question is, Drew, well, why didn't you ever talk to Porsha about it? You know, and Drew was just like, well, you know, just in this particular group of ladies. And honey, Kenya shut that shit down before she can even get started. She was like, Drew, don't even go there. And then this last time, this shit with Dennis is your fault. Okay, because you know that you should talk to Porsha before you had all this shit in play. So don't try to play the victim on this. This one's on you. So then Drew starts to tell us how, now last week it was, you know, she hadn't talked to Porsha, but Dennis said that it was okay. This week is, I did try to reach out to Porsha twice. You know, she texted her on February something, and she texted her on January something, or whatever it was. And, you know, Porsha and her never were able, they were supposed to go out to eat to Nobu. They never went. They've never been able to talk. And Cynthia's just like, girl, please. Okay. Like, you need to pick up the phone and call somebody. These text messages, you know, people look at that. Hell, I done got to the age where now I look at text message and have every intention of answering the text message and put that phone down and forget all about it. I mean, don't even think about it, you know? So it was just like, no, that's not going to be the excuse. You need to call somebody when there's something like this going on. Because Cynthia was like, Kenya used Leon in one of her videos or something that Kenya was doing, and she actually asked me first. Not that, you know, I got any say over what Leon does, but it's just the respect thing, you know? So yeah, Drew should have reached out to Porsha on that. You know, they want to know why the superintendent can't speak up, because he don't seem to be trying to take up for Drew, and Drew is out here fighting for her life with Porsha. Kenya was like, he talk about you like you a whore. You know, they talking about you like you a whore. And Cynthia was like, ooh, not whore. Was it whore? I mean, hoe is a little different than whore. Well, whore seems to be Kenya's favorite word. She uses it quite often. But, you know, Kenya was just like, the way they was making it seem like you was like laying it low and spreading it wide for the superintendent. And, you know, they all was talking about you, you know, even when Angela was like, I couldn't believe the way Shamia just asked you flat out like that. So they flashback, because Angela is on the same page as Kenya and saying how they was all making it seem like, you know, Drew was sleeping around and doing all that. And so then when they flash back to when Shamia simply asked, are you dating Dennis? Now, I don't know how we got to a whore and how it changed into like this girl is hanging off Dennis's left nut or whatever. But they seem to remember it differently than the way that it happened on the show, which is classic Real Housewives. That's always how it goes. So Angela was just like, you know, Shamia, when I brought it to her and told her that I thought that was not the right thing to do, you know, she got upset and she stormed off and all that, you know. So Angela's just like, girl, I don't know, you know, what's going on with her. But Drew was just like, well, you know, she did speak with Porsha at the party, and eventually they're going to talk. So she's just going to wait to have that conversation. Then later on, you guys, we see Drew meet with her lawyer. You guys know she's going through this divorce with Ralph. And so, you know, she goes and meets the lawyer. Hey, girl, I said, girl, you ain't going to the regular Real Housewives lawyer, divorce lawyer? The same one that everybody else with you? Drew says she gonna do this different. So she gonna meet up with this woman. You know, they said that they've been dealing with a lot with Ralph's mess. As you guys know that Ralph is in the house living with Drew. Apparently, Ralph told the judge that he could not afford to move anywhere else. That this is the house that he has. So the judge decided to split them up. So that's why Ralph is living in the basement. Drew has the rest of the house. But the problem that they're having with Ralph is that he won't turn over his financial paperwork. Drew was like, he has access to all of my financials. However, he won't let us know exactly where he stands financially. So they haven't been able to really move forward with anything because they waiting on him. And so, you know, the lawyer is just like, well, it's almost an open and shut case because we already got proof of this stuff. You know, Ralph cheating, women reaching out to you, you know, him sneaking around with people behind your back, all of this. We got all of that proof. So it's going to be, you know, it's going to work out in Drew's favor. They just got to wait on Ralph, basically. And the lawyer seems to be salivating over their win that's coming, you know, and Drew kind of gets emotional like, yeah, I don't want the kids to see all that. It's going to be on the internet and everything. Hey, it is what it is. I mean, divorce is never really pretty. And when it's ugly divorce, it's even worse. So, I mean, the kids, you do best by trying to explain to them ahead of time, like what happened. And then, you know, hopefully that'll buffer them from finding out the hard, ugly truth from the internet. Then, you guys, we see Shamia. Shamia's with her family. She's talking about her kids. She says that her sister, she has two sisters, and she said they've been like a true support system for her, you know, that she hasn't been able with all of the health issues that, hell, even she's had. The youngest baby has had, and now even her older child had to get her tonsils taken out, you know, so it's like so much going on. She don't know where she would be without her sisters. She said that it's really, truly never ending. And now that she's trying to grow the family, she's been talking to surrogates, and that's been difficult as well. Difficult and overwhelming. So yeah, you guys, Shamia has a lot going on in her life. We see her in the hospital with the baby that's having to get like some sort of procedure done. You know, her and her husband, nerves, you know, I'm sure they're a little bit used to it, but you never get used to the fact that your child is set to be getting cut on by the doctor over and over. So I'm sure that that's its own kind of stress, you know. And then we see her when she takes the oldest baby to the hospital, who's actually excited about going because she probably sees her baby sister and sees all the attention that the baby sister gets. So, you know, this is her time now to be in the hospital and everybody to fuss over her. So the little girl is excited, like, I'm a big girl, I'm going to the hospital, you know, going to get my tonsils taken out. I remember when I got mine taken out too. It was an exciting time. Now let's jump over to Angela. We see Angela at one of her properties. Her husband Charles comes to visit her there or join her there. You know, she said that she wants Charles to just see, You know, remember she told us she had bought like 5 properties and she was renovating all of them, and she just wanted Charles to see like the fruits of her labor, you know, his investment money in her business. She wants him to see that it's actually going to where it's supposed to go, and the place is looking good, and they gonna sell this place and make some money and, you know, keep this whole train going. So this is when she actually told us about the MSG thing. She didn't tell us when they were all out, but I already told you guys that part. So yeah, this is when she tells us about their relationship and how it's strained and how she wants to have the vow renewal. They can recommit to each other. And I guess Charles looked like he just gonna go along. He looked like he gonna go along. And she also feels like they need to go see a therapist. And he was just like, ain't nobody going to no $3,000 therapist like what you pay. And she was just like, I do not pay $3,000. Okay, maybe somewhere closer to about $1,200 a month. But the therapist has been helpful for her. And she feels like it will be even more helpful for the both of them. I feel like she gonna get Charles to that therapist eventually too, because like I said, Charles looked like he just kind of go along to get along. Lastly, you guys, Kelly's event. I don't know if I mentioned to you guys Kelly's event, but Kelly did tell us earlier in the show that she was going to be having this fundraiser, this event with Balmain. And I swear, if I had $1 for every time that child said Balmain, I was just like, we gonna be rich today. Because, girl, how many times you gonna let us know that you got a relationship with Balmain, and she gonna have a party at Balmain, and we all at Balmain, and everybody is buying stuff from Balmain, and I've been knowing Balmain for a long time. I've had a relationship with Balmain. I was like, girl, we got it. You and Balmain. Okay. Anyway, she says it's one of her favorite fashion houses and that they have joined together with her for this event. And it's a fundraiser for OI. I don't know what the actual disease was, but it is commonly known as the brittle bones disease. She said 3 of her daughters, she has 4 girls, and 3 of her daughters have been born with that condition. She said, you know, and I guess there was a journey of trying to realize what these girls had, because the doctors, you know, the babies injure themselves quite a bit, and then the doctors, of course, start to think that maybe the parents or the mother is abusing the child, but then they realize that they have this brittle bone disease, and so that's, you know. So she was cleared of any of that, but she, you know, now has to deal with the fact that she has 3 kids that have this condition. So she's 10% of the proceeds from the day is going to go towards that, you know, helping with research for that disease. So the ladies start getting there. So it's also a mommy and me event, okay, which works out well because a lot of them have little girls right now. So Kenya gets there with her daughter. Porsha is there with her daughter. Cynthia is there. No daughter, obviously. Her daughter's grown. But they get there first. And Angela, you know, Angela's hoping that, you know, when she sees Shamia, everything is going to be okay. You know, they kind of got off to a bad start, so maybe they can try to start over. We see Cynthia, honey. Cynthia got her old, even though this is a wig, this is the old school style that Cynthia, when we first met Cynthia, when she used to wear her little mushroom wrap, okay, kind of have a wig that's like a nod back to that, even though I was just like, oh, it makes her look older. I think Cynthia looks best with light hair. I usually generally like dark hair on women, black women. I think it's so stunning. But in Cynthia's case, I think that it makes her look older when she wears her hair black. Just my opinion. Porsha actually made it on time to this event. You know, she was just like,
me and Drew have the same hairstylist and makeup artist, so they went to her house first. So I was, you know, it took a long time. So girl, this is just like a 15-minute beat right here.
Because Kenya told her how pretty she looked. So once Shamia gets there with her 2 girls, then she and Porsha are talking, you know, and they just kind of laugh and joking around at first. They start talking about Angela. Shamia brings up Angela's nose, her 99 nose, like she ain't got time to be dealing with Angela and all her antics, you know. So they kind of laugh and giggling about that, you know. She do the whole little thing. Because she feels like Angela is disrespectful. So she was just like, I have no words. I have no words for her anymore. She came to my house and she was being funky. So midway through the event, like Kelly has somebody go up there and introduce Kelly. And so Kelly gets on the mic and she's telling them about the disease, you know, and, you know, her experience with her daughters and everything, and how the money is going to go towards them. So everybody go on and shop. Okay, shop goes towards the foundation. So everybody go and shop. 10% goes on. Now, Drew gets there. And as soon as Kenya see Drew, she was just like, there go Porsha. Like, go over there and talk to Porsha. Drew is trying to play it a little closer. Okay, playing it a little cooler. She don't just want to go and jump on the girl as soon as she get there. Angela actually approached Shamia and was just like, hey, girl. Like, I feel like we got off to a bad start. And Shamia was like, hell yeah, we got off to a really bad start. And she was just like, so I feel like maybe if we two can get together later and just have a conversation, maybe we can do that. And Shamia was just like, yeah, I would like to have that, But then I don't know what happened, because I rewound it twice to try to figure out where in that conversation did Shamia get so offended. Because Shamia was like, oh, it's fine if I'm going to talk to you, instead of a representative. And Angela was just like, it's always me. It's going to always be me. And she was just like, oh, so you speak on Drew's behalf? And Angela was like, yes, I did at one time. And she was just like, oh, well, then we don't need to speak because I already know what you think. And I was just like, wait, what happened? What happened? How did we get messed up just that fast? Oh, no, I don't need to talk to you. Angela was just like, wait a minute, hold on. She was like, oh, no, I don't need to talk to you. And so then Angela was just like, no, Shamia, you know what? You a mean girl. You a mean girl. It's Shamina. And she was like, no, it's Shamia. She was like, no, you a mean girl, Shamina. Okay. And she was just like, whatever, 99 knows. Get away from me, 99 knows. She was like, okay, Flavor Flav. I said, now we throwing around the insults. I was just like, okay. I thought that Angela was digging a grave for herself by calling her Flavor Flav, because you guys know how y'all will jump on that colorist thing real quick. So I didn't know if she was fucking around saying that she was calling her Flavor Flav because of her looks. Angela said that, she's a hype man, like the hype man for Porsha, and that's why she called her Flavor Flav. And Shamia even also said that she was Flavor Flav for Halloween. So then I was just like, oh, okay, maybe that might clear Angela. But when she said that originally, I was just like, when I saw it in the clips before I saw the episode, I was just like, oh, this might, and it still might be a problem for some people. Some people might think that she was saying that to be slick. What y'all thought when y'all heard her say Flavor Flav? Did anybody's mind go where mine went to? Y'all let me know. But anyway, so then they start going back and forth over the Flavor Flav and the 99 knows, which actually was pretty funny to see these insults going back and forth, because Shamia just kept on doing that and calling her LaToya Jackson. And then somebody else was like, she do kind of look a little bit like LaToya Jackson. I was like, y'all ain't right, child. But, so yeah, I got a good giggle from that. I did laugh from that. But as they going back and forth, Kelly was just like, wait a minute, what is this? Wait a minute, we don't fight at Balmain. This is my event at Balmain. We don't fight at Balmain. Y'all do that over at Lennox. We don't do that at Phipps. Don't nobody even fucking go to Phipps. Shit. Because can't nobody fucking afford all of the stores that's in Phipps. I'm so shocked that Rashida still got a store up in there. I can't believe it. Shout out to her, girl. Anyway, yeah, Kelly is just like, please, no fights at my thing. Like, please don't nobody break out. Well, we not gonna break out in no fist fight or nothing. We just gonna heavily shade each other as long as we can. At the end of the day, when it was all said and done, they raised about $30,000, Kelly said. So, the 10%, I guess $3,000 of that is gonna go towards the foundation. And, so there's that. Now, Drew eventually does go up to Porsha, and, it was just like, you think that maybe you and I can talk now, because we said, you said that you were going to talk to me, and Porsha don't want to talk now. I mean, no, we're not talking at the event. Well, let's just set up one of these bootleg ass little days out at the little restaurant and have a conversation like everything else.
I can't believe that she would have the audacity to come up to me. And then I noticed that something over my shoulder, and I looked around, and there was her audacity with braids. Her sister was there. So she had brought back up, and she wanted to have a conversation while her backup was there.
I was like, why are you looking at the sister as backup? Although we know that sister don't play about Drew. She don't play about Drew. So maybe that is why Drew wanted to have a conversation with Porsha. Honey, Porsha could have handled that sister too. Hell, let's get this conversation done. Is the sister going to be at the sit down that these two have together? I'm intrigued. Maybe we want to see Drew's sister and Porsha have a conversation instead of Porsha and Drew. But anyway, you guys, that was the episode. Y'all let me know what you thought about it. All right, you guys, that is it. I'm going to get on off of here. Make sure you thumbs up the video, comment, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I'm Roxanne. The channel is It's Rox. Everything else I do will be in the bottom bar. All right. So I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day, and I plan on doing the same. So next time, Roxstars. Bye.